This is the brand new A7 IV, Sony's latest addition to their most popular lineup, and wow, do we have an upgrade here. Starting off, the A7 IV has a brand new 33 megapixel partially stacked sensor capable of shooting 30 frames per second, 14-bit RAW images blackout free, and it also has pre-capture and speed boosting options. Alongside that, there is a brand new Bionz XR2 AI image processor for better autofocus and color accuracy when using auto white balance. Video-wise, it shoots 4K 60 frames per second uncropped that's oversampled from 7K to give you a cleaner and sharper image. We also have 4K 120 in APS-C crop. So in terms of memory card slots, we've got two. We have slot 1 is a CF Express A and an SD card slot, and 2 is just an SD card slot. All in a body design that is similar to the A7 R5. So yes, you do have that 4-axis tilt screen, which is just incredible. And I've been shooting with this for just around 2 weeks now, and I've managed to take it throughout a bunch of different aspects of photography and videography to give you, our wonderful audience, as much of a real world test as I possibly could with the brand new A7 IV. So enough yapping, let's get shooting. Now, the A7 lineup has always been Sony's camera for everyone, the Swiss Army knife of cameras, if you will, but they really have packed so much into the A7 IV, starting with this brand new partially stacked 33 megapixel sensor. And yes, the same megapixel count as the A7 IV, but with a brand new partially stacked sensor, and I am absolutely loving the results I'm getting with this. It is so crisp, so sharp. It's no wonder that everyone calls 33 megapixels that kind of sweet spot. And the reason a lot of people are calling 33 megapixels a sweet spot is because you still get so much detail that allows you to, if you need to in post-production, crop in a little bit while still retaining that detail. And also the huge file sizes of something like the A7 R5 that has 61 megapixels, having 33 megapixel files is much more manageable. And I can't tell you how many times when I've been shooting on my A7 R5 when I've got hundreds of 125 megabyte RAW files for something that's just going to live on Instagram. It doesn't make sense having these 33 megapixel photos with amazing detail and a lot less storage space. It just makes more sense if you're out shooting every single day. And to make the RAW file types even more manageable, Sony have actually got rid of uncompressed RAW. So we only have now lossless compressed, compressed HQ, and fully compressed. And that's because Sony said when they introduced lossless compressed as a file option, they immediately could have got rid of uncompressed RAW files on their cameras, but they wanted people to use both and kind of recognize how good the lossless compressed files are. First off, we have 30% better subject recognition with the XR2 over the Bionz XR chip. Now the A7 V checks its autofocus 60 times a second, whereas the A12 checks it at 120 times a second. So we still have faster autofocus in the A12, but we do have 30% improvement with the XR2 chip here in the A7 V. Ooh, this is cool. Ooh, car. Oh, he was coming for me, Jesus. Second of all, we get a 23% improvement of battery life from the A7 IV. Now that equates this to about 750 shots per battery. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm never looking at my battery life and going, oh, I've got 245 shots left. But I can tell you, I've been shooting photos and a little bit of video all day. I've only changed this battery once. It is good to go and will not let you down in the field. Quality-wise, we have 16 stops of dynamic range in those RAW files. So when you're in a high contrast area like Chinatown at night, for example, you're still retaining a ton of detail in both the highlights and the shadows. And the results kind of speak for themselves. So as an everyday street camera, the A7 V has got you covered, but what happens if you're a working professional and you're in a studio setting and you want to shoot some portraits? Well, today we're here with Amy
and we're going to be shooting some portraits with the A7 IV and a bunch of fun prime lenses. So let me talk you through this first setup. We've kind of just got a very simple one flash with a massive softbox on there, just kind of diffuse the light, but still give a lot of contrast. And we also have a reflective bounce board here, just to add a tiny bit of fill in, because we are kind of working against the sunlight from these massive windows. So I'm really pumped on the images that we're getting, so let's keep going. So one thing that's new to the A7 lineup, but not new to Sony, is the 4-axis flipping screen that we have here. So we can tilt, flip it, you kind of put this anywhere you want, and it is fantastic. Just being able to do this and flip it up when you're shooting landscape is something that you don't know how important it is until you've used it, and then you go back to a camera that hasn't. So points to Sony for that one. So after using the 35 and the 85, I have to say the 51.4 is definitely my favorite lens. It's just so small and compact, but the results you get, it's so sharp. So I know I said it before, but I cannot overstate how good this autofocus is. We have autofocus points on 94% of the sensor, so that is more than enough. It won't let you down when you're in the field. And I have this set to wide area focus, and if I just half press the shutter, instantly it's on Amy's eyes, and I've got a great result. This is incredible. It's basically witchcraft at this point. So you're really gonna love this when you're out shooting in the field. Wow, yeah. So in terms of frames per second when we're shooting photos in this, right now I have the mechanical shutter because I'm using the flash. That is 10 frames per second. But if we use the electronic shutter, we have 30 frames per second. So obviously right now in this headshot situation, we don't need to use that. But if you're shooting a wedding and you want to get that kiss at the end and every single microsecond counts, having that 30 frames per second, you're guaranteed to get that shot. So amazing upgrade here from the A7 IV. And we have also CF Express Type A and an SD card slot in slot 1, and slot 2 is just an SD slot. So if you want to upgrade to CF Express Type A, you absolutely can. And the read and write speed you get on those cards, truly fantastic. So it saves you a lot of time when you're trying to transfer images and stuff like that. Just speeds up your workflow in post-production. So let's not forget that the A7 IV is a hybrid camera. So we've set this interview up here with Amy, and we're going to go over what you would be using this for in an interview setup like this. So we're shooting in S-Log3, we only have flexible ISO shooting, we don't have Cine EI like we would do on the FX3 for example, but we do have conversion LUT, so we're getting exactly what it's going to look like when you apply a Rec 709 LUT from S-Log3, and that's not baked in. So it's just amazing to see what our first step of color correction, color grading will be like here. It's a really nice tool to have on these cameras. So we're shooting in 4K 24 frames per second, but the 4K is actually oversampled from 7K, so we're getting a much cleaner and sharper image. And we have a ton of dynamic range going on here. We have daylight, we have sunlight coming in here, we have a darker side on the left here. So just really impressed with how this is coming out, and the final image looks great. So we're going to flash it up on screen what the S-Log looks like, and then how the final image looks, so you guys can see from start to finish what the image pipeline of the A7 IV looks like. And we also have XAVC SI 4K if you wanted to, and if you put that in 60 frames per second, you're actually getting 600 megabits a second, so you need a really fast either V90 or CF Express A card to use that file format. But I'm going to stick this in XAVC HS. That is more than enough for me. And we are going to roll on this interview. Your name and what you're going to talk about.
Hi, I'm Amy, and I'm going to talk about my first garden in New York that I grew on my balcony this past spring.
Well, this interview is all wrapped up, and I am super excited with both the video and the photos that we got in the studio. But now let's move on to something a little bit more action-packed, shall we? We're here in Queens at the World Ice Arena shooting the Rangers. Yes, being New York sled Rangers. And these guys are so impressive. I cannot wait to shoot them with the A7 IV. I'm really impressed what we're getting straight out of camera. With these kind of fluorescent LED lights, you do get a lot of banding, but as we have a partially stacked sensor on the A7 IV, and I'm not seeing any banding right now, and because they're moving so fast on the ice, we've really got to crank that shutter speed, but that also means that we have to crank the ISO. So I'm shooting at 3200th of a second right now, and my ISO is 10,000, which I'm usually kind of nervous to go above 6400 kind of, but I'm really happy with that. It is alarmingly sharp. All right, we got some high pace action right now. Oh, it's so cool. So I have the C2 button here at the top set to speed boost, so that if a really intense piece of action happens, I can hold down the C2 whilst I'm shooting, and that will then change to 30 frames per second as long as I'm holding that C2 button down. So it's just nice to have that option of, if you need the maximum frame rate, you can, but I don't want to be going through thousands of photos every time. So, and I'm so impressed with the autofocus. It is locking on to these guys' eyes through their helmets, and that's really thanks to the new Beyond XR2 image processor. The subject recognition is incredible.
All right, Matt, it's time for you to get on the ice.
Okay, jeez. So now I'm gonna get some videos of these guys shooting behind the goal, and I've turned on 4K angle of view priority, and that is to get the full frame image of 4K 60, so we have the full field of view. And Sony basically said that they're getting rid of the in-camera noise reduction to get all of the field of view. I don't really know how that works, but we have a full frame image at 4K 60, which wasn't the case on the A7 IV. So really excited to see this come into the A7 lineup. Ooh, sorry, dude.
You're good. My bad.
In terms of video, the 4K 60, having that full frame field of view, incredible. The 4K 120, I would have loved to have the full frame aspect as well, because at 16mm, those wide exaggerated shots would have just looked incredible at 120, but I'd rather have it in APS-C than not have it at all. But yeah, this is a photo first camera, so I am asking a lot there, but I would love to have that in the next iteration of this Sony. If you're watching, please put that in. But thank you so much to the New York Sled Rangers. This was truly incredible, and I hope they like the results as much as I did. The A7 V handled everything we threw out here. 4K 60, 4K 120 video, pre-capture, burst rate shooting, 30 frames per second, you cannot go wrong with this. So now we've done street, we've done portrait, we've done sports. So if you're a wildlife or landscape photographer, do not worry, I've not forgotten you. That's where we're heading next, so let's go shoot some wildlife. So we've now traveled up to South Salem here at the Wolf Conservation Center, and we're going to be putting the A7 V through its paces in a wildlife photography situation. Super excited to see some wolves, so let's get going. So right now we have Canary and Silas with us here, and these two guys are part of the educational program here at the Wolf Conservation Center, and they're kind of the ambassador wolves of the center, giving people education, so they're a little bit more used to human interaction, so we're going to take advantage of them being kind of close. Silas is chomping on something, I'm not quite sure what it is. Oh my god, he's so cool. I have the focus area set to tracking expand spot, that way I can put the focusing area onto his eye, half press, and then it just locks onto his eye. So if he's moving around, which he is a lot right now, I'm able just to half press, it'll follow him, and I can just keep firing to get the desired shot that I want. So we're gonna test out the 30 frames per second, see if we can catch something here. I'm also gonna put pre-capture on. Let's give this a go. Whoa! Okay. All right.
Oh, and autofocus is locking on so quickly. He's fast. He had a few raspberries yesterday, and instead of eating them, he kind of rolled around in them. So we've got a pink hue to his fur, which is kind of all over. So as it's quite sunny right now, I can't really use the screen. So luckily we have 3.68 million dots in the EVF with 120 frames per second refresh rate. So plenty of resolution. We have 7.5 stops of image stabilization on the A7 IV. So put that together with the 300, we get 8.5 stops. And I'm shooting handheld at 300 right now. I mean, I'm resting against the fence a little bit, but it is so stable. It is alarming. And just being able to shoot handheld at such a long focal length is so nice, especially when you're out doing things like wildlife. Oh, he's peeing. So I've put pre-capture on here just in case I miss the slightest thing. And you can really set the pre-capture to however you see fit. So right now, I have it set to half a second. So when I'm shooting in the highest frame rate, 30 frames per second, there's constantly 15 images buffering whilst I'm half pressing it, and then they will be saved once you fully press the shutter. When this was first introduced, it felt kind of like cheating, but now I've used it, I can never go back to not having it because I rely on that a lot. Oh, never worked with it yet. Turn, come on. Yes! So I've dropped down to mid continuous shooting, which is a lot less, about 10 or 15 frames per second. So still a ton of photos, but I have the function button of C2 set to speed boost. So then when I'm shooting, there was a wolf up here before, and as his face turned into the sun, I pressed C2 whilst pressing the shutter button as well. Got that 30 frames per second speed boost, just to give myself as many options as possible in post-production. And this will just save you so much time editing and hard drive space. It's a bit of a learning curve to remember to have another finger up there whilst you are shooting, but once you've used speed boost, it is really going to be hard to go back. So I've got a 420mm equivalent right now with the 300 and the 1.4. But I'm going to shoot some 4K 120, which has an APS-C crop, and that gives me a 630 f4, so plenty of reach because these guys are staying well away from us. In 120, we now have active steady shot. We lose the dynamic active in 120, but we still have active steady shot, so you can manage to get a really stable handheld video, and then when you slow that down, you have a super steady shot. So 630mm at handheld, I'll take that all day. So we're just about wrapping up here at the Wolf Conservation Center. These animals are truly incredible. I can't believe I'm this close to a wolf right now. And the A7 IV did so well. I'm so happy with the results, both in photo and video that we got. The autofocus, even when we were shooting through a fence, stuck to the animal's eyes pretty much all the time. And when we first got here, the lighting was kind of harsh, but the dynamic range on these raw files, amazing. So let's head back to New York and kind of give our final thoughts on the A7 IV.
Well, that might just have been the most fun I've had shooting in all those different scenarios with a new camera in a long time. Let me know which one of those was your favorite in those comments down below. But whilst I still have you here, I kind of just want to go through a rundown, more of an in-depth look at the body of the A7 IV. So ergonomically, this is a huge upgrade from the A7 IV. Starting off, we have the tilty flippy screen of the A7R5. So just being able to tilt it up perpendicular to camera, amazing. The grip feels a lot more beefier, just feels really nice to hold it in the hand. And personally, I like having the video record button up top, just personal preference. I know a few other cameras has it kind of where the C1 button is, but I really do enjoy having it around there. Ports wise, on the left, we have two USB-C ports, so that is for power delivery and data transfer. We no longer have the Sony multi-port, so that just means I have to think about carrying less extra cables. I just pack a bunch of USB-Cs. Can't tell you how many times I've forgotten that one specific cord that I need, and it just ruins the day. We have a headphone jack and a mic port here, and a very welcome full-size HDMI, which is great to see. So in terms of memory card slots, we've got two. We have Slot 1 is a CF Express A and an SD card slot, so just have that flexibility, and 2 is just an SD card slot. I'd have loved to have 2 of the dual ones. It just gives you that little bit more flexibility, and I love the CF Express A. The speeds on them are crazy. As this is the body design from the A7R5, we don't have the C5 custom button on the front like we do in the A9 III and the A1 II, but we still have the speed boost function if you want to make that 30 frames per second for a specific amount of time. But don't worry, because you can program that to be any button you want. Now, if I was using a long lens, personally I would probably make it the C2 button on the top next to the record and shutter button, just because I'll be using my left hand to kind of support the longer lens. I think that just makes the most sense. I really love the fact that we have the dedicated photo, video, and S&Q dial on the top. And now, because in video mode we have the log shooting setting menu, like dedicated menu, we no longer transfer the pitch profiles from photo to video. So if used to be on the A7R5, you're in pitch profile 8 to shoot in log, you switch back to photo, that pitch profile was still there. So that was a pain, no longer a thing on the A7 V, which is a welcome addition. So if you're upgrading from a previous A7 body, or you're moving around the lineup from an R5, R4, an S-Line, or an A9, something like that, you're going to get pretty used to this very quickly. It's going to become second nature in no time at all. But I hope you enjoyed this look at the A7 V. Let me know what you think of the camera, and let me know which was your favorite photo or video clip I got. I would love to hear it down below. But whilst I still have you here, one more thing, let's talk about paying for this guy. So if you're like me and you want to get this new A7 V, what better way than to use the B&H Paybu credit card? And with it, we have some major benefits here. When you use the Paybu credit card, you pay the tax, and then B&H pays you back instantly. So for me, I live in New York City, so I would save 8.875%, which is great. But also remember to check the website down below to see if your order is eligible. Or you can pay over time with 6 to 12 month special financing. Applying is super easy, and you get to use your new Paybu credit card right away. To check if your order is eligible, go to bhphoto.com/Paybu. My name is Matt, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.